to God, very sensitive to God. Did he live a perfect sinless life? Oh, not at all. But when he failed, in contrast to Saul, he was brokenhearted about it. And then humility. Though he became king of his nation, though he went from tending a flock of sheep to overseeing his nation and making his nation the most powerful nation on the face of the earth, though he built the greatest army known in that day and was an incredible leader, a man among men, he understood that he was only God's servant, and he was humble. And then the third thing we saw, the Bible says he led Israel according to the integrity of his heart. He was a man of integrity, and integrity is really what you are when nobody's looking. It means that David was real. He wasn't one thing when nobody's looking and something else, you know, when he was before people. He was real. I just love this story, though. Samuel at the house of Jesse. I'm here to anoint one of your boys. Jesse's so proud. Okay, boys. Eliab, Abinadab, Shammah. 7 boys walk in front of Samuel. Enter the room and no. And you just feel the anticipation building, don't you? Is this all your children? Send for him. We will not sit down until he comes. For David, it was just another morning, another day. But when he started that day, I mean, I want to read to you what the great preacher of years ago, F.B. Meyer, said about David's morning. No angel trumpet heralded it. No faces looked out of heaven. The sun arose that morning according to his wont over the purple walls of the hills of Moab, making the cloud curtains saffron and gold. With the first glimmer of light, the boy was on his way to lead his flock to pasture lands heavy with dew. As the morning hours spread onward, many duties would engross his watchful soul, strengthening the weak, healing that which was sick, binding up that which was broken, and seeking that which was lost. Or the music of his song may have filled the listening ear. It was just another day for David. He had no idea, little did he know, that his life would never be the same. That from that day on, the Spirit of God would mightily come upon him, and the Spirit of God would stir within him in an amazing way. God says, man looks on the outward appearance, but I look upon the heart. I want you to fill in these blanks. We can tell how men look, but God can tell how men are. I'll never forget when I was in junior high at Irving Junior High here. I was in Mr. Hagen's office quite often. Mr. Hagen was our PE teacher, and he was sort of coach to us. He taught us a lot about sports, and, you know, PE was my major. PE and recess. But I was always pretty small when I grew up. My dad played football, and he weighed 200-some pounds, and he was all conference, and his team won their conference championship, and he was a sizable guy. And in fact, a few Sundays ago, my cousin was here from Illinois, and he called me a month before that and said he was going to be here on that Sunday, and so I said, we'll take you to eat after church. And so we spent time with my cousin, and he was actually out here doing some family research. He's building a family tree and stuff. He went back home to Gothenburg there and got on the, what do they call it, microfilm or whatever, and he was reading papers from clear back, obituaries, and his dad and my dad played football together in Gothenburg. And he said, did you know that they, and I didn't know this, he said, did you know they not only won their conference and they were undefeated, but did you know that they were not scored on all year? I mean, no team even scored on them, you know. And so I wanted to play football too, you know. But I took after my mother, and she was small. And so I'll never forget being in Mr. Hagen's office, and as a junior high boy, he had a sign on the wall. It just wrote right on my heart. It said, "It's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog." Man, I like that, you know. That just was an encouragement to me because I knew I wasn't a big dog, you know. And that says something about the inside, doesn't it? Some of you know that a couple years ago that Larry and Carol Frost gave me a dog. And I told Gail, I said, if I ever got a new dog, I want a yellow lab. It's got to be a yellow lab. And would you believe it? After I told her that, Larry calls me one day and he said, my dog had pups and we got 7 chocolates and 1 yellow. They were all spoken for, but he said the folks that took the yellow are backing out. He said, would you like to have it? You mean free? Yep, I'm just giving him to you if you want him. And so we got an 8-week-old little puppy, and it wasn't just a few weeks that he started running with me, you know. And I named him Scout because he'd run out ahead all the time and scout it out, you know. And to this day, he still runs 15, 20 yards ahead when we go. Darts in the ditch every now and then, you know, chases rabbits, chases whatever. And but when he was a little guy, we'd go around the section, and we went by one farmhouse. We always go by over on my right. I always go the same way. People are creatures of habit, you know. And on the south side, on my right, there's a farmhouse, and they have a blue heeler. And blue heelers are called blue heelers not because they have blue heels, but because you have blue heels when you're around them if you try to run. They're cattle dogs, and they're made to nip at the cattle's heels, you know, and get them back in the herd if they try to wander off. Well, this blue heeler, he was firmly convinced that he owned not only the property beside the road, but the road. And we run by that house, Scout and I, and the blue heeler would come out and nip at my heels and nip at Scout's heels. And poor Scout was scared to death of him. And so he would always position himself over here on my left, and the farmhouse was over here, and the blue heeler over there. That's what he always did. And the blue heeler would still come out and attack us, bark like crazy, and come out. And I could feel him sometimes the back of my running shoes, you know. And you know, just it was irritating. Every time we go by, this dog trying to bite us, you know, and nipping at us, you know. But then Scout grew up. He's big dog now. He weighs 90 pounds now, I think, you know. He's more than twice as big as that blue heeler. But to this day, he still is over here. And he still dreads it when we go by that house, scared of that blue heeler. And so a month ago, my daughter, who lives in Texas, called and said, Dad, can you keep our dog for a few months? Their house, they have their house up for sale. And it's been so hot in Texas, triple digit, 103, 105. Oh my, terrible, you know. And they have a fenced yard for their dog, but they couldn't leave it out there because it's too hot. So the dog had to be in the house, and then real estate people coming through. It didn't work very good. And so she said, can we bring a dog up to you for a few months? And so they brought their dog up. It's a little black dog, and its name is Angel because it has a kind of an angel shape on the front chest. It looks like a little. And so they named it Angel. And Angel's not near as big as Scout. You're ahead of me, aren't you? So I take Angel running with us too. And Angel is not used to that. She's a city dog, and she's used to either being in the backyard or in the house, or if they take her for a walk, it's on a leash. And they're just running with me, you know. And so we go down the road, and Angel, she runs right beside me. In fact, she bumps into my legs every now and then. Like I said, dog, don't you knock me over. But she looks up at me with a twinge of fear, like, should we be doing this? Is this okay? And so we came up the hill by that farmhouse, and as soon as we crest the hill, I could hear the blue heeler barking at us. And as we got down there, Scout's over here on my left, positioning me between him and the blue heeler. But here's Angel over here on my right. She saw that blue heeler barking at us. Oh, my lands. She surprised me to no end. She took off after that dog and just charged for him. And I thought, oh, my lands, we are about to have a fight. I mean, the fur is going to fly. We are going to see one big fight right here. Angel just flying after that dog. And all of a sudden, it surprised me to no end. That blue heeler, it saw Angel coming, and it just turned and took off towards home. Heading up the driveway all the way and cut in the barn. And Angel chased it all the way to the barn, you know. And I'm calling, no, Angel, come back. But actually, I'm saying, get him, buddy, get him. 2 years that dog has nipped at my heels, get it. But he's on somebody else's property. She's on somebody else's property. So I'm saying, come back, Angel, come back. And so Angel comes back, and you can just see it on her face. Ha ha, I treed that coon, didn't I? Woo, she was happy about it, you know. And I have to tell you this. Since then, we've gone by. And when we crest the hill, I hear the blue heeler barking, but I don't see him. And I come up there, he's barking from the barn. He won't come out. She put that dog in the barn. He hadn't come out since, I don't think. But as you can see in some of these pictures, I don't know if you can see it or not. The dog's so black you can't see it there. But can you see it? Yeah, you can see it. I can't hardly see it on my screen. But Angel is not hardly, she's about half the size of Scout. It is not the size of the dog in the fight. It is the size of the fight in the dog. I had no idea that after 2 years of being nipped at, that was the answer, you know. It wasn't Scout, it was Angel, who wasn't much of an angel. Listen, I want you to know, God says, man looks on the outward appearance. I look on the inside. I want you to know that God sees you, not just your face today, he sees your heart.